Hello friends, and welcome to Life in Envelopes. I am Jennifer Bleecher. In today's video, we're going to close out my budget for the month of June. Let's start by taking a look at where I spent my money over the last couple of weeks, starting with debt. So I had two payments to loan number 2 come out. One came out on the 17th and one came out on the 24th. Those were each for $142. And then water, wait a second, that is a bill, not a debt. Water, electricity is a bill. Let me change that. Let me get my bill sheet. The difference between a bill and a debt is eventually going to be paid off, and a bill is something I'm always going to have to pay. So as long as I'm using water and electricity, I'm going to have to pay for it. So that came out on the 21st. And that was $406. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on with the bills. Netflix also came out on the 24th, and that was for $17. I do round up. It's like 16 and some change, but I do round up on my bills. I round up on my bills and down on my income. And then Alliant Energy, was $37, which I believe is less than what we budgeted. This is the gas for my house. And then State Farm came out, and that was $235. And I believe that was close to what I budgeted. But we will check on the worksheet in just a moment here and see how close I was on these estimates. Okay, so food. On the 16th, we went over to Sam's Club and spent $95. And then I went over to Walmart and spent another $120. Then on the 23rd, we spent $124 at Sam's. And I say we because Sam's Club, I always take, because I'm a really nice person, I always take my ex-husband to Sam's Club. He doesn't drive, so I take him to Sam's Club to pick up groceries, get groceries from there. But Walmart is just me, so that was $56. I say it was just me because I went there, but I still pick up groceries for me and my sons, Jacob and Logan. Okay, so moving on to miscellaneous. I had a pharmacy expense on the 21st for $25. My pharmacy is actually CVS at the Target. I just say Target because on my, even though it's CVS, on my statement, my bank statement, it says Target. So I always write Target. Okay, I did get gas on the 20th and I spent $42 on that. That was for a full tank of gas. I rarely get down to zero. This is the first time my gas light has ever come on that I can remember. But my gas light came on just a couple blocks right before I got to the gas station. So I really went down to the bottom. And so filling up the whole tank cost $42. Okay, for spending money. So $55 actually came out on the 21st, but I'm gonna move it over here because I have more space over here. And then also $55 on the 28th. This is allowance, cash spending money for 3 family members. And then sinking funds, I'm currently just doing the bare minimum for sinking funds, and it's $60, and I'm doing that at the end of the month. So I did get to do that this month. Last month I wasn't even able to do that. I do that only when I have extra income, and summers are always my tighter months financially. Just have less sales. YouTube goes down, watches on YouTube go down because people are out living their life, and I totally get it. I live in a place where it's cold in the winter and warm in the summer, and I like to get out as much as possible in the summer as well. So anywho, I was watching some old videos of mine where I was doing way more than this for sinking funds, and I'm so excited to start my new job and have my new income and get back to doing some of those sinking funds like I used to do. Getting that all set up, but that's not going to happen. I start my new job mid-August, and then I'm assuming I'll get my first paycheck in September. Hopefully it's the beginning of September. So we can start doing that then. Anyways, sorry, I got way off track there. Let's go to the worksheet and update that. Okay, starting up here with bills and debts. So State Farm came out, we budgeted $235, and that's exactly what it was. Water and electricity came out, and I know this is going to be exact because it's budget billing, so it's the exact amount every single month. Alliant Energy, I budgeted $74, but it was only $37. That is so nice. Netflix was, I budgeted $17, and that's what it was, I think. Yep. HBO, didn't HBO already came out this month. I must have forgotten to write that down. It came out over here on the 13th. Okay, and then the two loan number 2 payments came out as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add up I'm going to color code this, otherwise I know myself I'm going to get confused. Okay, debts are pink. And bills are purple. Okay, so let's add up all of the pink ones. So it came to 2002, which is actually what I budgeted. That is so cool. I think my debts might be a little more fixed than my bills. Let's see how I did on the bills. $922, and we budgeted $967. So it is a little different than we budgeted, but it's actually in our favor this time. And I'm just going to double check my math, make sure I did that right. $922. Okay, so 2002 plus 922 is $29.24. And we are going to use this information when we get to those pages at the end of the workbook here, the end of the monthly section. It's called the end of the month pages, so we're going to get to that in just a minute. But now let's take a look at our variable expenses. So I track those because they change. I have this month I start with, this amount that I start with at the beginning of the month, and then each week I spend in those categories, so it goes down as the month goes on. So I track it each week, or every 2 weeks in this case, on this sheet, which is my weekly check-in. This sheet, along with all the other stickers that you see here, are available in my Etsy shop, Life in Envelopes. I do have a discount code for all of my YouTube viewers, and that is YouTube15, and that discount code saves you 15%. Okay, so starting with food on this, let's go back and look. So we had 120 and 95 on week 3. 120 and 95. So we spent $215 that week. We had $395 to start with. So that brought us down to $180 that was left over. Okay, for gas we had $80, we spent $42. So 36, no, 30. So 80 minus 42 is $38. Okay, moving on to miscellaneous. So we had 136. We spent 25 at the pharmacy. 136 minus 25 is 111. Okay, for spending, we had 110, spent 55, so that left 55. Okay, I'm going to add all these together to see how much I spent that week. So 215 plus 42 plus 25 plus 55 is 337. So 721 minus 337 is 384. So if I did this right, this is how I check myself. If I did this right, when I add all these numbers together, they'll equal 384. So 180 plus 38 plus 111 plus 55 is 384. Perfect. So when I started week 4, I had $180 available for food. I had $38 available for gas, $111 available for miscellaneous, and $55 available for spending, which was a total of $384. So let's see how much I spent. Starting with food, I spent $56 and $124. That's $180 exactly. Woohoo! Nice, I did not go over this month. Okay, moving on to gas. I didn't get any gas last week, so that's 0. So we still had $38 left over. Okay, moving on to miscellaneous. I don't think I had any. Yep, I didn't have any that week, so 0. So that left me with 111 there. For spending, I had 55 left, and that's exactly how much I took out for my spending, and that was 0. Left me with a balance of 0. So if I add the 180 and the 55 together, whoops, that's 235. So 384 minus 235. So how nice, 149. I was actually had money left over at the end of the month. That is so cool. That rarely happens. Okay, 111 plus 38, if I did everything right, should equal 149, and it does. Okay, so now I have the numbers to finish this part of the worksheet. So 800 for food, and we end up spending, exactly 800 on food. For gas, I ended up spending a total of $42. Okay, for miscellaneous, I budgeted 200. I was left with 111, so I'm going to subtract that from the 200. That means I spent $89 on miscellaneous expenses this month. 220 is what I budgeted for spending, and that's exactly what I spent. So I'm going to add all these together and see how much it equals. 800 plus 42 plus 89 plus 220. 1151. So 1300 and 1151. This is awesome, you guys. So we were below budget on our fixed expenses, and we were below budget on our variable expenses. Oh, that feels so good. I'm just taking a moment to celebrate that. Okay, so coming up here to sinking funds, I budgeted 60, and that's exactly what I did. So that we had a leftover amount of 0. Okay, moving on now to those end of the month pages. Just in case you're new here, I don't share all of this income. What I share instead is my total monthly inflow, and I do that based on the amount that I spent this month. That's what I share. So for debt, I budgeted 2002, but I asked what I actually spent. Bills, I budgeted 967, I spent 922. Food, I budgeted 800, and this rarely happens, but that's exactly how much I spent. Gas, I budgeted 80, and I spent 42. Miscellaneous, I budgeted 200, and I spent 89. Spending, I budgeted 220, and I spent 220. Sinking funds was 60 and 60. So let me see all together how much I actually spent this month. $4,135. So I actually spent $4,135, and that's the number I'm going to be using for my monthly inflow. And I need that number to calculate the rest of the worksheet. That's why I do share that number. So let's do the difference. So 2,000 minus 2,000 is a difference of 0. Bills, 967 minus 922. So I was positive 45. I had $45 left over in that, as far as that goes. Food was exactly what I budgeted. Gas, I have a positive amount. Let's see, 80 minus 42. I have a positive amount of $38. Miscellaneous also had a positive amount of 111. And spending was exactly what I budgeted, and so was sinking funds. So all together, I had a positive amount left over of 45, 38, and 111. Wow, 194. So cool. That is just going to stay in my account and become part of my cushion in my account. Okay, percent of monthly total inflow. If you ever forget how to calculate this, the Budget Mom has put the formula down here for you so you can see how to do that. But I'm going to show you how to do that today as well. You take the total month amount that you spent and you divide it by the total monthly inflow. So in the first case of debt, that would be 2002 divided by 4135. And that's 48%. Sometimes I think it's easier for me personally just to multiply that times 100 to see that 48%. It just makes it easier for me. And I do round up if I need to. In this case, I don't need to. So 48% of my monthly inflow went to debt. I'm going to go ahead and calculate the rest, and then I'll come back and tell you how much of my total monthly inflow went to each budget category. Okay, so 22% of my income went to bills, 19% went to food, 1% went to gas, 2% went to miscellaneous, 5% went to spending, and 1% went to sinking funds. Okay, coming over to where did my money go? So my total monthly inflow was $41.35. And then over here, it asks for total monthly income, but again, I don't share that. So just for an example here in the book, I use my monthly inflow so that I can still show you how to do it. Okay, so monthly debt payoff amount. I spent a total of $2,002 on that. So percent of monthly inflow. Again, there are equations at the bottom if you forget how to do that. But what you do is you take the monthly debt payoff amount and divide it by the monthly inflow. So, which we already did on the other page, and that was 48%. So we've already done that. Okay, so now we're going to break down each loan and see what percent of that it was. So for loan number 2, we had 568. So I'm going to take 568 divided by 2002. And that's 28%. So what that means is 28% of this monthly debt payoff amount, 28% of it went to loan number 2. That's what that number means. Let's go ahead and calculate mortgage. 1316 divided by 2002. 66% went to paying off my mortgage. And the last one was my SUV, so that's 118 divided by 2002. So 6% went to paying off my SUV. Okay, coming over here to savings. So the only savings I currently have is my sinking funds. So my total monthly savings was $60. So the percent of income saved, again, to calculate that, I'm going to take 60 divided by 4135, and that's going to be the percent, which is 1%. So 1% of my income went to savings versus 48%, which went to debt. It would be so nice to be paying a lot more to savings and a lot less to debt, and that's the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate life goal, is to be paying less to debt and more to savings. Okay, so coming over here to sinking funds, obviously since we only had one, this was 100% of this category. 60 divided by 60 would be 100%. Okay, so the last page is the where did my money go monthly spending comparison, and I already filled in all the information for last month, so now we just need to add the information for this month. So for debt, It was the same as far as the amount that we spent, but the percentage was 48%. So it was a higher percentage of our income. It was a difference, 45 and 38, that's a difference of 3%. Okay, for bills, last month it was $9.21. This month it was $9.22. And the percent of budget was 22. So last month versus this month, there was a change of 1%. It went up by 1%. I'm going to do plus or minus here. So it went up by 3% there and went up by 1% there. Okay, for food, we spent $11.13 last month. This month, oh, we did way better this month. It was exactly $800, which was 19% of our budget. So we spent a lot less of our budget this month than we did last month. 6% less of our budget went to food this month. Okay, for gas, we spent $60 last month. This month we spent $42, which was 1% of our budget. So that's really not a change, 1 and 1, so there's no change there. Miscellaneous, we spent $135, which was 3% of our budget. This month we spent $89, which was 2% of our budget. So we actually went down here. We spent 1% less on miscellaneous expenses this month. And for spending, it was exactly the same. We budgeted $220. That's what we had last month as well. But let's see if the percentage changed. Oh no, the percent was also the same. So that's no change there. And sinking funds, I wasn't able to do sinking funds last month, so both of those numbers were 0. This month it's $60, which was 1% of my budget, which means I had a 1% increase going to sinking funds. Okay, so all together, last month my monthly inflow was $44.51. This month it was $41.35. So I made less money this month, which is accurate. I did make less money this month. Minus $41.35. So $316 less this month. Okay, friends, that is it for this video. The next budgeting video I make will be a budgeting setup video. I'll be doing my budget setup for July. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, will you please give it a thumbs up? And I will see you again next time. Bye, everyone.
Peel away, with life in envelopes. Plan your days, plan your days, plan your days. Get those stickers placed. Peel away with life in envelopes. Plan your days, plan your days, plan your days. Get those stickers placed.